we just read Then She Was Gone.
And it was by Lisa
Jewell?
Yeah, Lisa Jewell.
Can you roughly tell us what the book is about?
Okay, so it was about this girl who goes missing, and she was like a high schooler, and she had recently gotten this tutor, and she kind of gotten weird vibes from the tutor. So whenever she went missing, nobody really knew about it because like she just quit going to the lady. And then like for a long time, her mom didn't know she was dead. And then a couple of years later, her mom randomly meets this guy in a coffee shop, and he's like kind of like fascinated with her mother. Do you want us to tell the ending?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're gonna spoil the
you
ending.
pick it up.
Well, so then she like meets this guy as a daughter who looks just like her daughter, and she's like kind of weirded out. And then eventually she finds out that his daughter is her daughter's daughter, so her granddaughter, basically, who was like
Super
taken by the
weird.
tutor. It's like a very convoluted storyline, basically.
Who would you recommend this book to?
Honestly, people that don't like to read, because I don't like to read, and I just like randomly saw this book at the airport, and I was like, I knew she liked to read, so I told her, I was like, I'm gonna buy this book and read it, and then as soon as I finished it in like a week. I just passed it on to her, so maybe non-readers that like murder mysteries.
Yeah, like thrillers and murder mysteries.
It's called Leviathan Awakens. I have no idea who it's by. It's a good question.
Can you give us a rough summary of what the book is about?
Yeah, it's about, well, I like sci-fi a lot, so I'm a big sci-fi guy. It's about an alien virus they found on the moon of Jupiter, and it took over a planet, and it's becoming something, but I don't know what yet.
What made you pick up the book and start reading it?
I hadn't read a book in like 2 years, so I thought it was about time to start.
Who would you recommend the book to?
Anybody who likes sci-fi. I mean, it's like an 8-book series. They made a TV show about it, and they're making a game about it right now, so it's a good time to find it, yeah.
Last book I read was Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens.
How did you come across the book?
It'd been on my list for a while when I was learning about the French Revolution. I thought it'd be interesting.
Can you roughly tell us what it's about?
It is about a nobleman from Paris who goes to London and falls in love and then feels he has to go back to Paris during the French Revolution to help a friend, and they kind of get sucked into the whole chaos of the terror.
Who would you recommend this book to?
It's kind of romantic, but I think I would recommend it more to people who are interested in like late 1700s and kind of like, I don't know, books where every single part of the book adds up. So like something gets set up and then it becomes important later on, that sort of thing.
It's called Boys in the Boat, and I cannot for the life of me remember the author.
Can you roughly tell us what the book is about?
Yeah, so it's about the U.S. men's rowing team who went and competed in the Olympics in Germany in the 1930s. They were all a bunch of farm boys. They had never rowed before they reached college, and there was no one in the United States to represent the U.S. at this competition. And so it's their story of how they learned to row, how they got the boat together, and how they eventually went on to win.
What's one thing that stood out from the book to you?
One thing that stood out to me was, I guess, so I'm on the rowing team, so that's why I started reading it in the first place, and they all started late in life, and then they all went on to do incredible things by working together and by innovating the sport. And to me, that's really helpful because I also started rowing super late, and it shows that I can keep doing well, I can keep improving and going on, as long as I work with those around me and within myself to do the things that are hard for me.
Who would you recommend this book to?
Anyone and everyone. It's not necessarily just for rowers or athletes, but for every person.
It was the Bible, and it was written by many different authors.
Who would you recommend the book to?
Everybody who's struggling, or even if you're happy, just read it.
What's one thing that you've taken away from the Bible? Something that's stood out to you personally?
How much Jesus loves us and how much God cares for us to give his only son.
How did you, or when did you come across the book for the first time?
I was actually in the 6th grade. I was really sad and depressed, and my grandma gave me a Bible. She's over there, and I read it. I've been reading it ever since.